You know, when I'm wearing this and the suit, do I look like a douchebag or one of those guys who looks like he's wearing cologne that came out of a bottle that was shaped like a lighthouse or a car? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Grown Ups 2. So Grown Ups 2 is the sequel to the comedy masterpiece Grown Ups. Actually, it's not a comedy masterpiece. I don't know why it got a sequel at all. Some people enjoyed Grown Ups. I didn't. I just saw it as another Adam Sandler movie that he's phoning it in on just to get more money with a cheap, quick, unfunny comedy. And now we have Grown Ups 2 that carries on that tradition. Again, this movie has Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, David Spade, Kevin James, and most of them are married to women who are too hot for them to get in real life. Which is funny because they addressed that in the movie, so right there I was like, all right, you addressed that. And them and their kids start getting into some adventures, and here's Grown Ups 2. Alright, so I thought this movie would be a complete piece of shit. For the most part, it is. But there were a couple of times where I was like, all right, I'll give you props for that potential. There's a difference between potential and reality. Ultimately, this movie suffers from what I remember Grown Ups 1 suffering from. I only saw it once in theaters like 3 years ago. That's my reference. Which is every scene is an isolated scene. It's like, oh, here's this scene, this happens for the sake of this joke, and you move to another scene, which does the same thing, and another scene, and rinse and repeat. It's like when you're really high, not that I would know, I've heard, and read a book. Actually, it wasn't my book, it was a friend's book. It was a friend of a friend's book. Anyhow, every moment is an isolated moment that has nothing to do with the moment before and will have nothing to do with the moment to come. That's how this is, but for comedy. Every moment's this isolated joke that really doesn't feed into anything. It's choppy. If the joke's not funny, which happens a lot of times in this movie, it's just awkward. Because you know when a joke happens, there's that beat that's a reaction shot, and really nothing happens in it. It's just a pause that's there to let you, the audience, react to it. Then it moves on to the next scene, so you're not laughing over the important information or the setup that happens in the next scene. When it's funny, Adam Sandler will be all like, and if it has that pause that lets you laugh it out of your system before the next scene, it works. But if it's not funny, it still does have that beat there for you to laugh at, but no one's laughing and it's all awkward. It's all like, that happened a few times in this movie. Made it unpleasant. I mean, the first scene in this movie is Adam Sandler wakes up to a big deer in his bedroom, and then he starts yelling like Adam Sandler does, and then the deer stands up on its hind legs and starts pissing on his face. And of course, Adam Sandler doesn't close his mouth or anything, he just flails there because that's what we need for the comedy. He does that to a couple people, and they're just all chasing this R. Kelly moose around the house. What are you thinking? I mean, David Spade has a kid, they have that story arc, their kids are all trying to act cool for the other college kids. Taylor Lautner's in the movie, and he's a douchebag college kid. There's all these douchebag college kids. Shaq's in the movies, brothers with the ladies, man. And at the end, the best part of the movie is that they have 80s references. The movie was very choppy in its editing and its delivery. And in a world where timing is everything for comedy, the comedy was just off in it. It made the movie not funny, except for a couple of lines that were spoken in the movie. We were like, okay, I chuckled. The first half of this movie is complete dog shit. I hate it. I will actually go so far as to say I hate the first half of this movie. Second half of the movie, it's like it was directed by a different person. Not completely different because it's still absurd nonsense. But the second half of this movie was more enjoyable than the first half. So the second half of this movie, I'll forget in T-minus a couple days. I mean, to be honest, I want to say Grown Ups 2 is not okay and you won't remember it in T-minus 5 minutes. But at that point, when you gotta open the rating with it's not okay, you gotta call it what it really is. Grown Ups 2 is dog shit. That's right, apparently I averaged down in my solid mathematical score that is my rating system. Actually, it's not math, it's just my opinion. But I won't recommend the movie to anybody, and this is the second time they've dragged me through these coals. And I would like to thank Andrea Sipple for making my YouTube banner. I said on Twitter, whatever banner I use, we'll give a shout out and a thank you to the person who made it. So Andrea Sipple, thank you. Seriously, look at that thing. I look like a maniac. I love it. So Grown Ups 2, did you see it? Did you like it more than Grown Ups 1? Did you like Grown Ups 1? Just wondering about the Grown Ups thing for you. Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.